riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that week has passed. It's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Why I Hate This Album. I am one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey. With me as always, co-host extraordinaire Leonard DeMico and Timothy Richardson. Tim, how you doing, buddy?
Bad, Garrett. I'm doing bad.
Doing bad? What's got you so down, friend of friends?
I apparently have heartworm.
Wait, I don't think you do.
I got tested.
You got tested for heartworm.
I did.
That's a very untraditional thing for a human to be tested for and to have. How did this happen?
I have no idea. I have worms in my heart, Garrett.
Do you?
Or at least a worm.
This is a wild way to start an episode. Have you been making out with dogs? Have you been rummaging through feces? How did you get heartworm?
I don't know. I play with the dog a bunch.
Okay, well, good luck with your heartworm. Do we get you like HeartGuard? What do we do?
Do they make people medicine for heartworm?
That is a question for your doctor.
Okay, I'll take it to him.
You know when I ask... we may just have to start over. Do you know when I ask, how are you doing? All I'm asking is, what album did we listen to? I don't care. I know how you're doing. You're always here. I don't know where we go from here.
You ask, what are we talking about this week?
I guess. I kind of feel like I should go get tested for worms in my heart.
You should, but in an hour and a half.
We discussed getting another dog and the responsibilities that go along with that. And I mean, I know I didn't explicitly say, and don't get heartworm, Tim, but it's implied. All right, well, we'll get into it off mics. What song have we been listening to this week?
Oh, well, that I can tell you, Garrett. We have been listening to Dave Matthews Band's 1996 single, Crash Into Me.
Great. And Tim, I'm curious, it's been quite a week. I didn't think it was possible to listen to this song as much as I did. Do you hate this song?
I don't think so. Not yet.
Bold.
Probably. Maybe. Probably. I think I hate Dave. I don't think I hate this song. What about you? I also hate his fans.
Valid. No, sir, I don't quite hate it yet. There's a lot going for this song. And folks, I know we're talking about Dave Matthews' Crash Into Me, but you got to realize we listen to a lot of garbage. A lot of songs that aren't songs. A lot of music that is not music.
Last week, we listened to a song that was silence.
That was a song.
Well, it was a track.
Of course, it was a track, not a song. My point being that this is music. It's a song that makes it a lot better than a lot of what we listen to.
It is a low bar, but I agree.
Sure. So I can't hate it out of the gate, but that gives us an entire hour to get there, Tim, and I'm excited to do it. But before we do, I am curious, prior to this week, what's your experience with young David? Have you ever been crashed into?
Oh, absolutely, Garrett. Dave has crashed right into me on a number of occasions. I owned their first album, Under the Table and Dreaming, and that might have been my introduction to jamish bands, which became an embarrassing problem in college. Jam bands, not Dave Matthews. And I've heard this song a ton of times. This was super popular for a very long time. It might currently still be very popular. I'm not sure, but I have never heard any of the lyrics of this song.
Interesting.
I mean, I've heard them, but I've never listened to them. What about you, Gary? Is this the first time Dave has Matthewed your band?
No, sir. I grew up right in the Dave Matthews hysteria. I'll give you two quick tales, Tim. A guy at my school played 2 songs in front of his class for some reason. I don't know exactly why. It wasn't my class, but I happened to be in there at the time. And the 2 songs were Blister in the Sun by Violent Femmes and this song. And wouldn't you know it, the teacher in that class was also my coworker at a local foot store, a local shoe store. And boy, we really don't pay our teachers, huh, gang? Anyway, he was telling me a couple days later while we were, selling running shoes together, keep in mind I'm 17 at the time, that apparently a bunch of parents called in and complained because, now I don't know why in the world this guy was playing guitar at school. It was a geography class, for God's sake. But apparently a bunch of fucking parents called in and said, hey, you had some kid play songs in our kids' class about masturbation and sex. And apparently some children were offended by the harsh language of Dave Matthews.
I say that's silly. There is some explicit material in this song.
Oh, it is lightly coded, but we are going to break it down. And once we do, prepare to be appalled, folks, and never, ever be in a room alone with Dave Matthews.
Absolutely not.
Story.
Don't even let him in an adjacent room if there's a window.
Oh, absolutely not. He'll climb right out onto that ledge, scurry onto the side of your building, and bash his way into your room.
Or at least
for what
peep.
reason, I don't know. Well, to crash, Tim. Into me, and I come into
Okay. Second story. Jesus Christ.
Second story. This song was everywhere, as we're going to get into for sure, but it was so everywhere, gang, that it was even still popular in 1999. The reason that year is important is because that is the year that I really found myself, and more importantly, the opposite sex. So I was out at a party, and a young lady whom I was deeply in love with named Katie. I was working with her at a local country club. We were poolside waiters. I was leaving a party, and Katie, in her not so subtle way, was like, "Oh, I have to tell you something. I'll follow you to your car." So anybody with half a brain knows that Katie wants to make out, or who knows. And so we get into my car, and I was like, "Oh, I have got to put on this music for you." Now, Katie, at this moment, desperately trying to save the mood, says, "Oh, is it Dave?" And I say, "It's like Dave, but better." Tim, can you guess what song or songs I then put on instead of Dave Matthews' Crash Into Me, a theme song for young adult love?
Sublime.
Worse.
Oh.
Or at least as far as mood killing goes. I put on a new double artist EP I had picked up earlier in the day from Circuit City, and it was Vanilla Ice and MC Hammer, The Hits.
Did you say this was like Dave Matthews? But better? Because
Yes.
that's neither.
Right. Especially if your goal is to create an erotic mood for a sexual awakening. Instead, I put on Ice Ice Baby, began singing and dancing to it, and Tim, I don't recall her getting out of the car.
No, I assume it was just like a Katie-shaped cloud of smoke, and she's just gone.
It was a Wile E. Coyote style outline of where Katie once was, ready to help me, a young man who was awkward but willing to learn, and instead left alone with the likes of one Vanilla Ice. Tim, that story haunts me to this day. I really liked her. It might have been my first real crush.
So what you're saying now, for anyone that's listening, for everyone that's listening, is you wish you would have ended up with Katie.
Well,
that's what you currently think.
No. That's a moment I recognize of failure. It just makes me wonder how many more dozens, if not hundreds, and let's be honest, thousands of key moments in my life up to this point, I've failed so brilliantly, so magnificently, so unequivocally, and didn't even know it, thus dramatically changing the course of my existence.
So you're saying there's like a whole host of women in the past that you wish you would have ended up with currently, right now. Like
No,
you,
I think
Garrett,
you're taking away the wrong message.
The Garrett in this moment wishes that he had ended up with several of those women. For
In
anyone
those
that's listening,
evenings?
anyone that happens to listen to this episode should take away that you, Garrett Harvey, wish you had
we made it
ended
clear.
up with one of those women.
Of course not, you psychopath. I see what you're doing, trying to shatter lives, and it's not going to work. All I'm saying is that I've probably made a series of life-altering decisions that I was completely oblivious to because my personal gut instinct is almost always a 180 from what ought to have been done in the moment.
It's almost always pro Vanilla Ice, which I think is your problem.
And I come into you.
Okay.
Tim, that's your history. That's my history. But before we can talk about the song itself, we need to understand a little bit about the creep who wrote it. So, Tim, take us on a journey. I hope it's brief. Help us understand who is Dave Matthews and how did Crash come to be?
Well, this isn't going to be brief, Garrett. David John Matthews, David, or simply DJ Matt if you prefer, was born in Johannesburg, South Africa before moving to New York, where his father worked as a physicist for IBM. Then Cambridge, England. He started playing guitar around 9 years old. Then they moved back to New York, where his dad died of lung cancer when he was 10. And then he moved back to Johannesburg with his mom, where he graduated from high school in 1985 and then left South Africa to avoid being drafted into the military. Perhaps he simply didn't want to serve under De Groot Crocodile in his apartheid regime.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Get out of there.
DJ Matt moved back to New York to work for IBM himself, then went down to Charlottesville, Virginia to bartend, where he met Tim Reynolds, who, to avoid any confusion, I think we can simply call Tim. So Tim got DJ Matt to play with him on stage, and eventually Dave decided to create a band and record some of his songs. In 1991, they recorded a demo and started playing around Charlottesville clubs, local festivals, and very notably, tons of fraternity houses. They had a little trouble deciding what they wanted to call themselves. Originally, they were going to go with Dumwela, which is a Tswana word meaning hello, but that seemed like a bad idea, so they didn't. And Dave has told a couple of different stories about why they ended up getting named Dave Matthews Band, but most of those mention the word accidental, but none of them mention the word ego, which I think is inaccurate.
Sure. And when they say accidental, is it followed with on purpose?
No.
Okay.
No, he makes it sound like they just kind of fell into being called the Dave Matthews Band.
Right. Okay.
They released a live EP called Recently, and then they released Under the Table in Dreaming in 1994. That album was dedicated to Dave's sister Anne, whose husband pulled a murder-suicide on her earlier that year. It went on to sell 6 million copies in the U.S. alone over the next 6 years, as well as at least one copy in Al-Khobar, Saudi Arabia, to a young Tim Richardson.
Now, Tim, was it apparent through the research? In my personal memory, that album was a slow build.
Yeah. By the time you get to the next album, Crash, featuring the song of the week, that one hit number 2 on the Billboard 200. It sold 7 million copies fairly quickly. And the next year, Dave and company, they do a live album from Red Rocks Amphitheater. And I just want to say, if you ever get the chance to go there, do it. That's a great place to see a concert.
Just rubbing it in my face because you know I haven't been there? Or
the listener, I'm just saying, if you get an opportunity, go.
Yeah, I will, Tim. I feel like I had an opportunity, or would have. Somebody invited me.
Right. That's when I had money and a job.
Yeah. Suddenly, Tim gets a little jingle jangle in his pocket and he forgets his old buddy Garrett.
Anyway,
I've flown you to other countries, you cunt.
Okay, that's not true. Well, it is true, but it was against my will and I was waterboarded once I arrived.
You're welcome.
In 1998, they released Before These Crowded Streets. They hit number 1 on the Billboard 200, and that album sold just shy of 1 million copies in its first week. So 94, it's a slow burn. 98, they're a gigantic band. In 1999, Dave released an acoustic album with Tim Reynolds live at Luther College, and then Dave Matthews Band does Woodstock 99 on the same stage and same day as Kid Rock, Metallica, Rage Against the Machine, Limp Bizkit, Counting Crows, and Atlantis Morissette. That's just a weird lineup.
I cannot wait for that Netflix documentary. It's just a guy screaming into a camera for 8 hours. Why?
Yeah, you start that thing up and your living room catches fire. In 2001, they released the album Every Day, but they ended up having to abandon plans to promote that album. Their lead single was going to be When the World Ends, but then Khalid Sheikh Mohammed tried to kill Limp Bizkit on the South Tower. And Allegedly. No, I think he did do that.
Well, he did that, but we can't know all of his motivations. Did he believe Limp Bizkit lived at the top of the South Tower? That's what the internet's telling us.
Anyway, it seemed like in poor taste in 2001. Then they do a bunch of sessions with producer Steve Lillywhite, and that gets released on Napster. A bunch of people seem to like that more than the actual albums, and that prompts the band to go right back into the studio and record and release a new album, Busted Stuff, in 2002. 2003, Dave and Tim do another full solo acoustic tour, and Dave released a solo album, Some Devil, which I think won him a Grammy.
How is it a solo album?
Well, none of the rest of the band is credited or given money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The way he phrased it was, these are songs that didn't really fit into the Dave Matthews Band. Like, I didn't know how to record them under that name, but that's nonsense because if you listen to his music, who gives a shit?
Yeah, it's all the same.
In 2004, the band did a really large tour in which they stopped off in Chicago. Now, if you've never been to Chicago, dear listener, the bridges over the river there have this very specific riveted grating for drainage. Doesn't seem important in the story now, but it will become important. Another thing you should know about Chicago is that there are constant boat tours during summer months to look at Chicago architecture that go along the river and happen to pass under these bridges. Now, for whatever reason, on August 8th, 2010, 2004 at 1:18 p.m., Stefan Woll, the bus driver for the band's violinist, decided to dump 800 pounds of human piss and shit on the Kinsey Street Bridge. That massive pile of human waste passed through the grading system and began to fall toward the river below, just as one of these architectural tours was passing beneath, soaking 80 out of 120 boat passengers with the mixture of Dave Matthews and his band's shit and piss. According to the Illinois Attorney General, the liquid waste was brownish yellow in color and had a foul
Of course it was.
and had a foul, offensive odor. The liquid human waste went into passengers' eyes, mouths, hair, and onto clothing and personal belongings, many of which were soaked. Some of the passengers suffered nausea and vomiting as a result of exposure to the human waste. Mayor Daley expressed that he believed the dumping was absolutely unacceptable, but that he believed the Dave Matthews Band was, quote, a very good band, unquote. $300,000 in fines and donations to Chicago charities later, and all was forgiven.
What about the people that took a shit shower?
I think that they probably got some sort of compensation as well. But the fun follow-up to this, legally, the Dave Matthews Band is required to keep a log of when and where all their buses empty their septic tanks to this very day, because they cannot be trusted.
Oh, crash.
Yeah. In 2005, they released Stand Up, featuring the song Steady As We Go, a favorite of John Edwards and mistress Riley Hunter during their affair. I don't know if you remember John Edwards.
Former presidential nominee?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that guy's a real shitbag.
Yeah, well, he used to fuck Dave Matthews with his mistress, allegedly. And then to fulfill a contractual obligation, the band released The Best of What's Around Volume 1 in 2006. In 2007, the saxophonist Leroy Moore died unexpectedly following an ATV accident. 2009, they released Big Whiskey in the Gru Grux King. 2012, they released Away the World. And in 2018, they released Come Tomorrow. They are currently the only band to have 7 consecutive #1 albums on the Billboard 200 chart. I couldn't figure out who had the second most, but Dave Matthews and his band are up by at least 2. I think the next most is 5.
What?
In 2018, also, violinist Boyd Tinsley was fired after a sexual misconduct lawsuit was filed by a member of a different band that he is in. And in 2019, the Dave Matthews Band was nominated for induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They got the most popular votes that year, but were not let in. So I guess the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame also has an electoral college.
Yes, and I believe, if I remember correctly, that's the first time that's ever happened.
Oh.
Yeah, usually whoever gets the most fan votes or whatever they call it also gets in.
It would make sense.
That's some great history, Tim. So, I mean, in essence, this band has not been relevant since 2012.
They had a #1 album in 2018.
Allegedly.
Yeah, no one's heard it.
No one knew it came out.
I don't think anyone's ever heard the 2012 album.
I don't know that anyone's heard anything past 2001. Is Dave Matthews a robot?
No.
Today. Not always. Today.
No, Garrett, robots do not produce 800 pounds of shit.
They do if they eat biological matter.
Oh my God.
They're working on robots that live on our dead.
Well, they've already got the alarm clock that eats flies.
Oh, yeah.
Stop teaching them to like human flesh or flesh of any kind.
I'm going to say right now, none of my robots should run on flesh.
We usually say listen to the whole song or watch the music video and then come back. I would recommend instead of doing that, YouTube or Google videos of people walking down the aisle at their wedding to this song, or wedding retrospective highlight videos where it's just, a montage of like a first dance or shoving cake into somebody's face. Set to this song. People love how romantic this song is.
This was the canon in D of its day. Every goddamn wedding got it. Anyway, before we get into the song itself, here's a little taste of Dave Matthews Band, Crash Into Me. Tim, this is an excellent band.
Oh yeah, they're all very good at their instruments.
This is a well-produced song.
Sure. A little bit of pushback on the production. He suffers from, or somebody in this band suffers from the Bruce Springsteen syndrome, where it seems like they feel bad if everyone in the band doesn't have something to do on every song, even like if it's not needed or if it actively hinders the song itself. Because there's a ton of random tenor saxophone, wind chimes, wood block. There might be a tuba, and none of it really adds anything to the song.
They're just riffing, Tim. They're getting loose.
Well, yeah, it's a jam band.
Yeah, it's a structured jam band. Right?
Well, if you listen to a lot of jam band studio records, they are structured jam bands. But I feel like if you go hear this guy live, you're getting a 30-minute song.
Yeah, I'm wondering what is the average Dave Matthews Band fan after they became quite popular? Like, what do they think of that experience? Because it's going to be 13 and 26-minute songs that drift off into Sugar Magnolia for 10 minutes. Like, that's not what my sister's going to see Dave Matthews for.
There has to be a pretty good divide between the guy that went to a Dave Matthews concert to practice hacky sack and people that are, like you said, maybe 5 years older than you, or maybe like your brother's age, that are going because they like the studio stuff. They like ants marching or whatever.
We both know a guy that used to have a bumper sticker on his guitar case, which is already strike one. But strike two was, I believe the bumper sticker read something to the effect of, I liked Dave when he was cool. We'll just call him Joe B.
That's amazing. Yeah, here's the thing. Dave Matthews was never cool. He doesn't have the rock star thing.
Well, he has two fan bases, and you don't really want to be a part of either. You're either a stinky hippie or you're my mom.
Yeah, I think that the first group there, those fans make this a jam band no matter what their music sounds like, right?
Oh yeah, they're selling peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in the parking lot. They're calling you man every other word. Yeah, those guys, they're not wearing shoes.
Yeah, it is a good band. Musically, they are all excellent at their instruments. DJ Matthews is great at guitar. He's great at solo acoustic versions of these songs. He's really good at playing covers. I've heard him play with Warren Haynes before, and that's good. But to me, it doesn't really come out necessarily in the studio music. And I don't think based solely on the studio albums that the jam band label makes sense, right? Like if you hear jam band, I'm thinking Fish or Widespread Panic, and I don't think this song, or at least the first two albums, really fit in with that.
They're jam pop.
Yeah, pop jam. Gonna jam in that pop.
Pop jam.
Pop in
jam
that jam. What's his voice sound like? Because I have a couple of suggestions.
All right, lead me down the path.
One, it's possible that we're just hearing what a South African, New Yorker, Englishman, Virginia accent combines. Just maybe that's what this combo sounds like.
Maybe.
That's possible. He also kind of sounds like a South African man trying to do an Eddie Vedder impression.
A soft Vedder? Baby Vedder?
Yeah. He also sounds like a mid-90s Adam Sandler, like the Shabadooba Hoobadoo.
Yeah, this is a little baby.
Right. But doing like a Counting Crows song. But in that...
Boy, I really like... I want to stick with your Vedder example, Tim. You've really hit on something for me. So like, even though gets like... Even flow, Jeremy spoken. God damn, dude, you're onto something. Do I like it more? I might. I want to be careful in my wording here, Tim, but you've impressed me here today.
Oh, should I pop this shirt off?
No. Okay. No. That is never the next move.
All right.
Please stop asking.
Will you check me for heartworm?
No. What? No. I wouldn't even know how. Didn't you go to a doctor?
I did, but he's a doctor for all mammals.
Mm-hmm. You went to a vet.
Well, no, I went to a mammal doctor. He's not limited like your typical MD to a
He's
person.
Kind of like a super doctor.
Yeah, it's more impressive if you think about anything. I mean, he can do medicine on a dog or a cat or a horse. I don't know if he goes outside of mammals. Yeah, or a person is what I am.
Well, just a Tim. And arguably, probably not that either. We cannot go down this road, Tim. But long story short, no, I will not be your second opinion. And two, seek help. I don't know, get some heart guard. I don't know what they do for heartworm. Getting back to the song at hand, Tim, it's breathy. Yes, he generally has the odd Adam Sandler-like voice. But this song in particular, This song gets some extra moans, some extra groans. It's very, well, I don't know that I've ever used this word for music, lascivious?
Yeah. Crash
into me.
Yeah, it's...
Come into you. Whether you want me to or not.
Good
Yeah,
God.
we're going to, folks, I don't even think After Dark covers it. It might be beyond After Dark.
Ooh.
Ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourselves for Beyond After Dark.
Yeah, this only airs on German CBS.
We can't even... Wait, what? Welcome back to German CBS. It's the Big Bang Theory, but we poop on each other because we like that here. I don't know why. Anyway, Tim, are we ready to talk about these lyrics?
We are, and we can do one of two things. Because
Okay.
there's a VH1 Storytellers where he says what this song's about.
Oh.
Do you want to do that before or after?
After. I'd rather pose
Okay.
our theories, and then he can correct us.
Okay. You've got your ball. You've got your chain. Tied to me tight. Tie me up again. Who's got their claws in you, my friend? Into your heart I'll beat again. Sweet like candy to my soul. Sweet you rock and sweet you roll. Lost for you, I'm so lost for you.
Okay. There's a lot going on in there.
If you ignore the tying people up part,
Mm-hmm.
I can understand, based on the first verse alone, why people might think this might be something I could walk down the aisle to.
Not could, Tim. Hundreds, if not thousands, did.
Maybe millions. Maybe even billions. But that's not what we're here to decide, Gary. We're not here for the numbers this week.
Okay. I'll throw out the calculators.
Yeah, but again, there's the tie me up part, and I don't want to kink shame. That's fine. Do what you want.
Okay, sure. All right. There's a lot of ways to break this down, Tim, and I really don't want to leave any stone unturned. Tied to me tight, tie me up again. Could be I'm tied up in emotion. I'm in knots over this person. Obviously, this is a song about somebody, as you were kind of hinting at, being smitten with another person. They could just have them tied up in knots, not sure what to do.
Oh, sure. Who's got their claws in you, my friend? That could go along with it, right?
Yep.
Somebody's really gotten themselves under your skin.
Deep inside their brain there.
Yeah, they are inside of you.
Yeah,
I think
now
is
I
what
guess
you're
he would
trying
have to be
say.
saying that to himself, right?
A lot of times people talk to themselves, and I think almost entirely across the board, they refer to themselves as my friend. At least I do.
I call the inside me Brian.
Yeah, me too.
Hmm?
The inside you, I call him Brian.
Please don't speak to Brian.
I think the first verse of this is the most innocuous.
I think that's fair. I mean, it's weird.
Yeah, I mean, this is something Garrett Harvey could write after his first sexual experience, right?
Like a thank you letter?
Oh, yeah. I assume you're still doing those.
Oh,
Garrett writes
absolutely.
a mean thank you letter. I mean,
Oh, heck yeah.
not just for sexual encounters, because I've gotten a number and he has vehemently said no to the first part. But you help him move, you're getting he'll go out and buy a card. It's a great experience.
My penmanship is phenomenal.
It's calligraphy. The rest of your handwriting makes me suspect you might be a pirate or, at the very most innocuous, a serial killer.
Well, that's flattering, Tim.
You have the handwriting of a serial killer.
Yeah, no, I got it.
Or a pirate.
The song continues. Oh, when you come, crash into me, and I come into you, and I come into you in a boy's dream. In a boy's dream.
First of all, I told you I didn't have any other sounds like. He says crash like Nicolas Cage, Garrett. I can hear that reading.
Crash into me. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I come into you. Oh,
Well, that part's less so, but
Yeah, that part is less so, but
that is a Nicolas Cage-esque line, and I come into you.
Now, Tim, I will divulge something a bit embarrassing about myself in this song. This song came out at about 14 years old. Big difference between 16-year-old Garrett. A lot of different priorities, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
I sang this song, in the car, not just for my
like
family.
with your parents, though they were in the car.
Oh, sister.
Oh, that's worse,
Yeah,
I think.
So much worse. Now, the 14, okay, a little more naive than I probably should have been at 14, but she's 19. What the fuck? The song's about orgasms.
The line, and I come into you, is a very explicit line here. But I found
Ejaculation.
I found the way he sings that to be off-putting because he sings it in this very, muted almost, but very, I want to say it's a sweet way. I don't know if you know what I mean. Like, just literally the way he sings it. Can you do it for us?
Does he? Are you alluding to the fact that he may or may not sing "Come This"?
Yeah, okay, sure.
And I come into you.
Right. That's not the way somebody sings an explicit or should sing an explicit line, right? Because this is adult contemporary.
Orgasming?
Okay.
What if they're sweetly orgasming at the moment?
Here's the thing. He may as well be singing "And I Jizz on Your Face" in that same voice.
No, Tim, it's much more artistic than that.
It's the same amount of artistic.
And I jizz into you. You know what? Not for nothing.
Better
I
song.
like it more.
Yeah. But yeah, the point is, the point is, it's a weird way to sing a line like that, to me.
Oh, it's a weird way to sing this whole fucking song. This guy moans and groans and comes his way through this song.
Yeah.
Make no mistake, you're listening to a 5-minute and some odd second orgasm.
Now, have you ever heard Adam Sandler have an orgasm?
If you're in earshot, you can't not.
Is this accurate for him?
I'm not going to lie, Tim. I guess to each their own profession, because it's much less lyrical and much funnier. Well, that's certainly all right with me.
I like it. I feel like you tricked me into setting you up to do that.
This was all your idea. We do not plan ahead, folks.
No, I know.
Cheating.
Except for when you write my parts.
Well, sometimes you can't be trusted to be funny.
The Boy's Dream, what did you think about that? I asked specifically because you told me you were a 14-year-old boy whenever you first heard this song.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So this seems like, I mean...
Are you asking me about my nocturnal emissions?
No, absolutely not. I'm saying that you are a presumably very horny 14-year-old boy.
An anthem.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, but it's kind of bitch music for the time. I was more into Metallica and shit, man.
You're also into Smash and stuff. That's fair.
Yeah, I had a lot of testosterone and boners. You were 14, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get it.
Let's just move on from the Boy's Dream part then.
Yeah, okay, so let's really examine this. Up to this point, so he's smitten with a young lady, presumably. He wants to come inside her.
As you do.
Right. Wait. Why, yes, and you immediately. I mean, you do, but you don't have to, Tim. There's a lot of options. Maybe they're using a diaphragm. I guess you'd still come into that.
Yep.
Anyway, I think that it's now appropriate for me to say what I think is going on in this song.
Okay.
We started fairly innocent, and now we are a little further into the song, and it seems to be a little less innocent than we thought. It could just be, up to this point, as you pointed out, a young man, or let's not even make him a young man, a creep, who is fantasizing about what he'd like to do. And I think, Tim, we are heading in the direction towards a man building up courage to potentially perform a home invasion.
Okay, let's get to it. Not the song,
right.
Not the, yeah.
Sure, yeah. Of course. Of course. Respect for women is what this show is about. Touch your lips, just so I know. In your eyes, love, it glows so I'm bare-boned and crazy for you.
Not great.
Nah. Is he naked in the bushes and wants to touch her lips?
Possibly. We don't know that he's out in the bushes just yet.
Well,
That
how does he
comes
touch her
later.
lips if he's not close?
So he's asking her to touch her lips.
Oh.
This is what he was hoping she does.
I hope she touches her lips.
There you go. Yeah, this is a
Okay.
real Garrett character.
No, would you please stop equating me to a
As
Buffalo
a
Bill
boy,
type
as a
stalker?
boy, not
I mean,
now. You've grown out of this phase.
I was not a predator. Jesus Christ.
If I've gone overboard, then I'm begging you to forgive me for my haste. When I'm holding you so, girl, close to me, and you come, crash into me, baby, and I come into you.
Now, what you didn't read, Tim, is how that verse really starts. You read, if I've gone overboard, which is accurate. Those are the lines. But what you're not capturing is the orgasm of it, my friend. It begins, oh, if I've gone overboard. It begins with a groan. You've got to get that thrusting moan out. It's very breathy. It's very, it's important. He is pleasuring himself to this song.
Yeah, and possibly to an unsuspecting neighbor.
Oh, goodness. I'm begging you to forgive me for my haste when I'm holding you so, girl. Do we think that he maybe skipped a few steps, didn't go for the old first date, second date traditional route, more of a broken windowsill and an apology later?
Possibly. He might also be Tarantinoing this thing. I don't know that this is a linear story.
That's fair. So maybe he's jumped straight to the BTK of it all and she's wrapped up with a phone cord and he's begging her to settle down.
Yeah, forgive me. Listen, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay
Apologize
anyway.
for being speedy, but we're just going to get the first one out of the way. Oh, God, Tim, this is horrible.
Yeah, this is a really dark song.
It can't be that. Do we think at this point he has come into her life, that he has made contact?
Possibly. This, again, though, this might be a flash forward. What we might be seeing is in verses 1, 2, and 4, where he is in his actual life. He's a boy who will develop into the monster of verse 3. Right? You remember in Batman vs. Superman, your favorite Batman and or Superman movie, when
Fuck you.
there's that weird future thing, the movie that I would actually like to see with the Duster Batman and the Superman that's got some sort of cult?
Of course.
Yeah, that's verse 3 of this song.
Interesting. Nightmare Dave Matthews is what you're implying.
Yes, I am. Dave Matthews has gained confidence and he is a comin'.
Now, he has refrained again, the crash into me, baby, and I will come into you. At this point, do we really feel like crashing is just intercourse, or is this a reference to the struggle?
Oh, God. Maybe.
Is she struggling?
I would.
Well, God, yes, Tim. He's snuck into your house at 3 a.m. and he's tying you up with an extension cord. Things aren't going in a good direction.
No, you got to put a stop to that.
Unless this is something that you have carefully planned out with your partner and you have a safe word and this is just what you're into. We are not here to judge your very bizarre and creepy sexual fantasies.
Don't call it creepy. It's fine.
Did I?
I mean, it is creepy. Yeah.
Must have just come out.
Yep.
Hike up your skirt a little more. Show your world to me.
Yeah.
Dream.
Yeah. So don't refer to a woman's vagina as her world. Don't refer to a man's vagina in such a manner either, please. But it's creepy. This is a creepy way to refer to the genitals of another human being.
Yeah. It's also not very sexy. I want to see your
Garrett.
world. In the context of this song, Tim, how does it fit? Where does it go? What does he mean? I mean, obviously he wants to see that vagina.
Oh, sure. So the next lines explain it. Oh, I watch you there through the window and I stare at you. You wear nothing, but you wear it so well. Tied up and twisted the way I'd like to be. For you, for me, come crash into me.
Okay.
Maybe the crash just means meet in real life. He's outside the window. He's maybe a boy. He's maybe a man. You know, this is a neighbor's house, and he's peeping. He's looking
Real
into
Tim
that
character.
window. No.
You're not a peeper. I apologize. You're not a peeper. You're a lingerer. I'm going to go for a walk in the neighborhood. Okay, Tim. See you in apparently 3 hours. You like to linger. You see an open window. It's not your fault.
Look, I'm walking the dog. He is pulling me wherever he goes. Like, I can't be responsible. He wants to look on that patio.
Maybe there's a dead body
do?
there.
Maybe there's just, something that smells good to a doggy. I'm not breaking and entering. I'm following the dog. I can't just let my dog run wild through your house. It doesn't matter. The point is, this is not a Tim character. What it is somebody that's hiding in the bushes that is nude watching somebody change. Hike up your skirt a little bit more. There's, I watch you through the window. You wear nothing. I don't know the tied up and twisted part here.
I think she makes him feel the way he likes to feel. That tied up and twisted sensation, those butterflies, those knots in his tummy tum.
Yeah, that's the little bit of danger that comes with being a peeping Tom. That thrill you can get from no other activity other than observing somebody who does not know they're being observed.
Well put. Now, what we haven't really touched upon, Tim, is the other side of this coin. Obviously, we're describing merely what's in this song, a gentleman who is lingering, peeping, potentially planning. We don't know yet. That's because he believes that this other person is meant to be with him. He believes there's a connection, but most of the time when this happens, they don't believe it's just a one-way connection. I think that this person believes that young lady who hiked up her skirt a little more has feelings for him.
Well, you have to. Of course. You can't peep without imagining the future with this person. I've heard.
Yeah, that's true. You can't imagine. You can't picture sitting on a porch in rocking chairs with your partner of 35 years hogtied.
Yeah.
At some point, there's got to be some reciprocity in this relationship. Don't kidnap women.
Or don't peep.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
linger,
you know what, and don't even do it once, because it is the sort of thrill that will keep bringing you back time and time again. There's no substitute for it. There's nothing you can do to get that feeling that is not peeping.
I mean, maybe the only other thing that's even 80% as exhilarating is when somebody almost catches you, right? And you have to go sprinting away.
You know what I bet would be great?
Oh my God.
Getting peeped on.
No, I don't mean
peep you. I don't I mean,
Bro,
you set up.
Don't ask me to peep you, Tim.
No. Here's what I'm saying.
Listeners,
you
right in.
Hold on.
Will you stare at Tim?
No, I'm not asking for this. I'm just saying, if you have a significant other who has a peeping kink, we'll call it, and then you have a being pinked on kink, and so so it works. I'm just saying you could both get something out of it.
Well, I guess if you got that dynamic, it sounds like a real hand-in-glove situation. Good luck finding somebody that will stare at you, Tim.
No, this is not something I necessarily want or need now that I've mentioned it. It's just...
Why are you opening Craigslist? Close it.
Garrett, we need a new futon.
Yeah, we do, but I'm not going to buy a used one, and also, you are clearly looking for someone to watch you.
No.
Anywho, the song continues, I'm king of the castle, you're my dirty rascal, crash into me.
Well, that's not, because he sings that I'm the king of the castle, you're my dirty rascal. It's like a nursery rhyme, or possibly to the tune of Nana Nana Boo Boo. I'm the king of the castle, you're my dirty rascal. That's weird.
Oh, absolutely. Let me paint a picture, if I may. Large, abandoned, possibly half-burnt mansion. As a woman dramatically tries to escape the building, she hears somewhere down the hall, I'm the king of the castle, and you're my dirty rascal. That ends with an axe to the face.
That's terrifying. I am concerned that from now on, as we fall asleep,
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Beck curls up behind the couch bed on the floor. The interns stand at attention in the two bedrooms, and I just hear that. Oh my God.
Echoing through the building.
I might just burn the room.
You've burnt a good portion of it anyway. We're not getting the security deposit back. Now, I'm curious. I don't know if I have the right lyrics here. You tell me. We both know. See the way, come crash into me. See the way you come crash into me. Oh, no, 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 hey. Is it see the way or see the wave?
I think it's see the way.
Okay. And what is the way?
I mean...
His way.
Yeah, I think so.
Or the highway.
Yeah, this is a very Limp Bizkit-y type song.
Well, the highway in this case is, of course, being burned to death in an abandoned mansion.
Jesus Christ.
Your words, not mine.
Yeah, that's fair.
Correct. We checked the tapes. So, I mean, deeply disturbing song. What the fuck is this about? How are people fingering each other in cars to this?
Well, let me explain. So, I believe you did not watch the VH1 Storytellers.
Okay. Don't know how to work a TV.
That is actually true. On this VH1 Storytellers, he explained what this song is about. He said, the song is about the worship of women, and more specifically, about a stalker / peeping Tom / voyeur type. But this is a little bit of a crazy man. He's the kind of person you'd call the police on. Some guy sort of peering in keenly at his neighbors. A young girl who moved in or something, staring. And she's calling the police. I don't know why he had to say young girl, but I mean, he gets it, right?
Yeah, we nailed it.
Yeah.
This guy wrote a song about how he likes to watch people.
Yep.
Specifically young girls, which is a horrible detail that I wish we could have left out.
Yes.
And by we, I mean him. He called it out. Ugh. I'm certainly glad we saved that to the end, because it turns out for the first time maybe ever, I wish we were going to get a bell installed for when we were certain we got it right, but looks like that didn't happen.
I'll add it in post. And by I mean you.
Right. Gino, ring the bell. Tim, we nailed it.
Yep.
First time we've had an artist confirm it, I think. So let's get into the really disappointing music video.
Yeah. Dave looks like Steve-O.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm not sure what I want to say about this. We got some Victorian women dancing around. We got a man hugging a violin, possibly a viola, unclear. Weird guy with a cello in a pond. Dave is the one consistent thing throughout this entire stupid 5-minute video of nonsense. He's looking very impish.
Well, sure, Garrett. He likes to give off the impression that he is not a threat.
I took it to be very threatening.
Well, sure, of course. But you are the sort of person that if you see somebody that has a cast on their arm that needs to move a couch, you will say no and you will punch them.
Yeah,
and you're right to do that. You've never been serial killed before. Mm-hmm. But
folks, follow my 16 easy steps to not being serial killed. Dial in right now, 1-866-DON'T-KILL-ME, and get my package. It starts at 6 easy payments of $39.99. You just give us a credit card. we'll bill you monthly or even bi-monthly if you need a special care service package. That's my 16 easy steps to not being serial killed.
The way you describe this music video, I think, is perfect. There's nymphs, there's old-timey shit, there's people playing music in ponds. I think this music video might be what the Decemberists base their entire band's look on.
Yeah, like turn-of-the-century country folk that care how they look. Maybe they're on their way back from church.
Sure. I was also a little on edge the whole music video because it seems like the Wicker Man is about to happen.
Yeah, there's a lot of forest celebrations and geishas. That threw me off. At one point, they race wagons.
Well, yeah.
Actually, Tim, wow, I think I got it. So Dave Matthews plays himself in this music video, and what we see around him are several ethereal women. These are the ghosts of the women that are buried in the shallow graves of those woods.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and he goes out there to just be with them, and he sees their souls dancing in torment around him.
That makes sense. That's what the music video represents. Nailed it.
And the song and his life.
Yep. So in a VH1 Storytellers, he said the women represent the dead.
No, come on. Shut the fuck up.
No.
Okay. Don't tease me like that. I felt really special for a minute. Tim, how did this thing do?
Not exactly sure how many copies this sold, although, as we said, this was everywhere for like a decade, possibly still today. It hit number 19 on the Billboard Hot 100, and in total, Dave Matthews and his band have done pretty well. They've sold a combined 38 to 40 million records.
I mean, with that kind of money, you can dump your shit wherever you want to.
Well, yes, but you do have to keep a log of where you dump your shit thereafter.
Yeah, allegedly.
Yeah.
Tim, what did people think of it?
Well, we don't have an official Robert Christgau review, but he did give it a tiny bomb. So
which means he may or may not have liked it.
Yep. There are 51 reviews on Amazon, 4.8 out of 5 stars on average, 85% 5-star, 0% 1-star.
This album sold 6 million copies, and there's 51 reviews on Amazon.
That's for the single.
Still,
E.C. Graham said, one of my top 5. This is from 2014. I'm not a Dave Matthews junkie like some are. I don't go out of my way to listen to their stuff, except for this song. It's funny that people listen to this song and fall in love with the sound, the melody, and the sweet sentiments, but never really listen to it. The song is about bondage, not about falling in love. That doesn't mean you can't hold on to it as a love song, but it's much better as a bedroom song. 5 out of 5 stars.
Gross.
Andy O said, this is on a level with songs like the Beach Boys' God Only Knows or Something by the Beatles. Caution. This song can lead to acts of conception, subtlety and beauty expressing love and longing. 5 out of 5 stars.
What a dorky way to talk about banging.
Oliver Klosoff said,
recommended. Come on. Oh, come now, Niles.
Recommended to play when you have a young lady visit. 5 out of 5 stars.
Can we be done with this?
Yep.
They are debasing to you, me, and our audience. Who's this for?
This is for people that have just killed or are about to kill as a result of some sort of sexual urge, or people currently playing hacky sack.
Yep. Or people in 1998 and 1999 that were looking to fool around in their car. Tim, is there anything we haven't said about this song?
I think just about Dave in general, it's really easy to make fun of Dave. There's a lot of idiosyncratic things in his music that are easy to pick on. It's kind of almost become like the Eagles after the Big Lebowski or Smash Mouth after 97. At a certain point, it kind of became de rigueur, as you like to say, to hate this.
Right.
But it is also worth remembering why that hatred started, and I think this song might be a pretty good example of that.
This might have gotten the ball rolling when people looked at the lyrics and they're like, wait a minute, is Dave Matthews a pervert?
Yes, allegedly.
That's for our audience to answer, and Tim apparently.
Allegedly. I said allegedly.
All right, Tim, then I'm going to ask the big question. We've been all the way through it. We've heard the acts of a desperate man. Do you hate this song?
I'm not sure I got there. It's just so weird. It's pretty creepy. I'll give him that. He did something gross with this song, but I have to compare it to the rest. I mean, last week, Garrett.
Yeah.
Bloodhound Gang. This is great compared to that.
What's crazy is that I was switching between these albums.
Oh my God, that's true. That is ridiculous.
What a weird guy.
Yeah. I'm going to say I don't hate it. I still might hate Dave. It's not good. He's a good musician. I could theoretically really enjoy a band that he is the guitarist for, but that he doesn't get this much creative control over. What about you, Garrett? Did you get there?
I didn't. I don't hate it.
Oh.
Yeah. Tim, we've become connoisseurs of hate. We can't just throw the H on every Tom, Dick, and Harry that we come across on this show. It's truly got to be awful. I don't hate it. I don't like it. It's a song celebrating a man invading apparently a young girl's home. So that's not great.
Maybe just watching through the window.
Sure. Just J and that D safely in the bushes.
Yeah, J and the D while watching through the W.
Let's not abbreviate window. Yeah, I don't hate it. For all the things you said and more, I do wonder, could I withstand an entire album of Dave Matthews and still come out the other side not hating him? Seems like a tall order. But for this song, I gotta say, no, I don't hate it.
Garrett and I both really like this song.
That's not what anyone said. That brings us to listener mail. Tim, you want to go first? Or do you want me to?
I can go first.
Alrighty.
I actually don't have an email. One is an iTunes review and one's a YouTube comment, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely, Tim.
The first one is by Feather Stars Figured It All Out. This is an iTunes review and it's entitled Not All Starfish.
Okay.
Tim and somewhat Garrett make unenjoyable music enjoyable. However, Garrett's insistence that all starfish have buttholes is just wrong. Brittle stars and serpent stars have a combo mouth/butthole, and frankly, starfish as a whole took around 200 million years to figure out the whole butt thing. 5 out of 5 stars.
Sounds like he validated that some starfish with buttholes also use them for mouths.
Well,
How am I wrong,
more of a
bro?
cloaca.
Doesn't make it any less of a butthole.
It does. It makes it 50% of a butthole as opposed to your butthole, which is 100% butthole.
You said this show wouldn't be about statistics.
That's fair. Anyway, short YouTube comment here. This is from Brendan McCoy, and he is commenting on our Sugar Ray 1459 episode.
God. Years ago.
This was a very recent YouTube comment. This was like a week ago. I stole this CD from my ex-girlfriend circa 2014 to 2016. We used to bone to it all the time. I will never forget those days, a high point in my early 20s. This album was the soundtrack to a good time every night. This and John Legend.
I'm picturing the Canadian guy from Family Guy. We used to bone to it every night.
Oh, I love Brandon McCoy. You silly bastard.
Great listener contributions, Tim. That brings me to my listener mail, a disturbing one.
Oh, God.
It is update number 5 from the Candlestick Maker. Now, to be fair, I have neither read this email, nor have I read the multiple other updates sent by somebody claiming to be the Candlestick Maker.
You promised you would read these beforehand.
I know, but it's so much more fun to dive in with your eyes closed, isn't it? Let's get started. Update number 5. I fear for my life. The organization... I fear for my life. The organization that dispatched Agent 5.22 to take you two out of the political landscape, in parentheses, which is something I may or may not have mentioned. Sorry if I didn't. It's hard to remember as I've sent many emails, but you have so far only replied to one.
Well, we've read them.
Not me. But back to the point. The organization, similar to me, have traveled back in time. Have traveled back in time to take down Garrett before he rises to power and claims his rightful throne as Lacostier, well spelled, as the United Nations, who are now known simply as the organization, didn't take very kindly to him seizing power. Love this. The organization may have also dispatched another agent, the slightly less deadly Agent 5.21. He's used mostly to silence the, quote, dissenting ones, or supporters of Lacostier Garrett, as they will to be known as by the organization in the future. Grammatically not sure about that.
Well, it is the future. It's using future grammar.
Absolutely. Anyway, bye. If you don't receive an email from me in the next month or so, destroy all evidence of this conversation and delete the podcast where you read my email. Oops. Best of luck, the Candlestick Maker. Tim, I don't know what any of that meant. I am lost.
I assume somebody's going to show up and fire some sort of laser cannon at you.
Yeah, it does sound like an assault on me to keep me from rising to power. But I say, in the words of 6699, bring it on.
Oh, God. No. Garrett,
what?
I literally cannot afford for you to die.
Okay, well, then you better protect me with all your life.
I also would like not to die. Maybe just don't taunt these people.
Tim. Anyway, that brings us to music news of the weird. Tim, you want to go first? You want me to?
I'll go first again.
All right?
In We Don't Talk Enough About Travis Scott or Personal Endorsement News, Travis Scott really loves McDonald's, and McDonald's really loves Travis Scott. So for a limited time only, if you order a quarter pounder with cheese and add bacon and lettuce, and also get a Sprite, you can ask for the Travis Scott. Now, this is the first time in 30 years that McDonald's has bowed to the star power of any celebrity. The last time was, I think, in 1992 with Michael Jordan. I guess we on the Why I Hate This Album podcast beg you, before October 4th, when this deal ends, go to McDonald's and eat Travis Scott.
Yeah, put a little Scott in your mouth.
What about you, Garrett?
My first story this week, Tim, is frenemy of the show, Tekashi6699. His album sales are a little lower than anyone might have expected. Tattletales debuted at the same time as Big Sean's Detroit 2, and Sean's topped the charts with 103,000 units moved in its first week. Meanwhile, 6699's Tattletales debuted at number 4 with a mere 53,000 units. 32,000 of the 53,000 sold were from what's called pure album sales, which include an array of merchandise album bundles. So 30,000 of the meager 50,000 were including like bundles where you maybe got a t-shirt and an album, or tickets to something and an album.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
fading fast.
Didn't you get like 17 copies of a Raconteurs album one time?
Much worse. From Spaceship Nightmare. What is that? That Jack White album we did?
Boarding House Reach.
Enraging. And all for concerts where he played music from that shitbox album.
Yeah, also, how do you play a CD?
I have no idea. I do not have a single device in my house that knows what to do with that. Anyway, over the past week, it has been revealed this is not the only loss that Tekashi has suffered. He has been making the rounds to several hip-hop media outlets trying to get interviews to hype the album. Apparently, Fox News and The Shade Room, something I'm not that familiar with, were both considering letting him on, but ultimately decided to decline, while Gilly the King and Joe Budden both were like, no, absolutely not. And then even crazier is this dude Gilly put the whole fucking phone call on the internet. It was just like, check out this weak-ass bitch. 6699, if you want to come lick your wounds and just hide out for a little bit, a couch bed remains open and ready for you, young man. We could use some help with some drywall. Tim, what else you got?
And Kanye West has some thoughts on various topics news today.
I had some of this.
K-Way has some thoughts on various topics, and he would like to share those thoughts with you. Most of these are actually a Why I Hate This Album exclusive report from Enemy and Variety. So first of all, K-Way is not a fan of the new deal with Travis Scott and McDonald's. Doesn't like it. Secondly, K-Way has said he will not release any new music until his contract with Sony and Universal ends, which is almost the exact opposite of how contracts tend to work.
Yep, but he feels as though he's been wronged, Tim. So, you know.
Fair enough. He also demanded apologies from J. Cole and Drake for unstated reasons, saying, I need a public apology from J. Cole and Drake to start with immediately. I'm Nat Turner. I'm fighting for us, later calling himself the new Moses.
Great.
He also weighed in on that time he was a rude asshole and interrupted Taylor Swift's VMA speech, mostly blaming our collective Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. He said, if God ain't want me to run on stage and say Beyonce had the best video, he wouldn't have sat me in the front row. I would have been sitting in the back and they would have made it the first award and he wouldn't have made it so ridiculous because I've never heard of this person before and Single Ladies is one of the greatest videos of all time. I was only drinking Hennessy because I didn't want to go to the award show because it was a setup.
A setup.
Yeah. And again, this should serve as a reminder once again that K-Way is mentally ill. Beyonce is never going to fuck him no matter what he does. It's not going to happen, K-Way. And also, most importantly, please do not vote for K-Way for president as a joke or as a protest. That's not productive.
No. Did you see the final tweet he let out to wrap this whole non sequitur up?
I don't think so.
He wraps it all up by saying, let's stop killing each other. Let's show God that we are God's people. My ego gets the best of me too. God doesn't measure us by money in his kingdom. Let's love each other. I love my brothers and I miss my friends. Real talk. Kanye, we hope you get some help, man. This isn't good.
You got some more news there, buddy?
Oh yeah, I sure do. Don't care for that. Don't call me buddy. Tim and Britney Spears news. She is furious with her father these days, according to TMZ, for attempting to rehire a man she claims is, quote, uniquely unsuited to manage her estate. Now, you may recall young Britney Britney is currently under a conservatorship with her father, Jamie. Now, this gentleman that Jamie would like to rehire, Mr. Andrew Wallet, can't make this shit up, apparently has been a co-conservator of Britney's estates from 2008 to 2019, where he's been paid a salary somewhere in the neighborhood of $500,000 a year, according to Miss Spears. Now, in docs filed Monday, Britney says she's done performing, at least for now, and needs to keep her expenses in check and make, quote, difficult budgetary choices going forward. Britney says she believes her dad, Jamie, is ignoring her financial situation by attempting to bring Wallet back on board. Her father quickly followed up, of course, claiming that Britney's objections to the appointment of Mr. Wallet are full of factual misstatements and is asking a court to immediately weigh in on the facts. Now, we don't know the details here at the Why I Hate This Album podcast, and we certainly don't want to take sides or besmirch anybody. But if you follow Britney Spears' Instagram, you will see why she is currently under a conservatorship run by her father. If you know that, then it is difficult to believe anything she says. She once pointed out that cheetahs don't even speak English.
They don't, though.
Portuguese. Tim, what else you got?
In Chris Brown news, Chris Brown
one?
from Trapped. Chris Brown and other members of Trapped may soon be featured on Judge Judy, Garrett's third favorite daytime TV judge after Judge Joe Brown and Judge Greg Mathis. Mm-hmm. Unclear if any of them are actual judges. Apparently, and I believe we mentioned this on a previous episode, but Trapped filmed a music video for their newest album that no one has ever heard and didn't bother to pay the director $4,000 that they owed him. So the director has taken them to small claims court, and Judith Scheindlin has invited the whole mess onto her show, and given what an attention whore Christopher is, that might happen.
Jesus Christ, what a train wreck.
It's going to be great, and we could do a prepisode on that episode of Judge Judy if need be. What else you got, Garrett?
I have just one more story this week, Tim, and it is about friend of the show, Jeremy Renner. According to court documents obtained by dailymail.com, Mr. Renner, the actor turned singer, or vice versa, is losing close to $20,000 a month due to the coronavirus pandemic. The singer listed his average monthly net income during the 3 years from 2017 to 2019 as roughly, per month, $344,649, or a little over $4 million a year.
It's not bad.
But by May of this year, his net income has dropped all the way to negative $18,368 as Hollywood has shut down all production. Now, Tim, I did some digging to try to figure out what is he spending in order to end up at $18,368 less than he started the month.
Can I take a guess?
Please do.
Lawyers.
Well, that is certainly a big part. I didn't see how much he is spending on lawyers, but I did find out. All of this, of course, is in the service of him asking to have his child support reduced. Currently, it is $30,000 a month, which does seem high for one child.
Yeah, I don't know that I spent $30,000 a month as like a 5-year-old.
Yeah, it's tough. Not impossible, but tough. He's asking it to be reduced to $11,000 a month, which, I could probably raise a kid on that. Anyway, trying to understand.
We could raise a kid on that, I think you mean.
I don't.
With Beck.
Ooh, maybe. I'm back in. Okay. I'm going to teach you how to be a man. Beck? His monthly expenses total, according to the singer, $98,000, including $18,279 for his mortgage, which by my calculations means he either has the most expensive house ever or quite possibly the worst interest rate you've ever seen. $5,651 for groceries and $3,393 for laundry and dry cleaning.
Well, he has all those dusters, so that last one makes sense.
That last one makes total sense. It's all dusters and scarves. You can't machine wash a silk scarf, Tim.
I don't know. The groceries one seems a bit fudged to me.
I mean, how fucking much is your house that your mortgage is $18,000? I assume that's a cumulative mortgage of like multiple properties.
Oh, I don't. I'm not going to be any help on that front.
I know. Nobody asked. So absolutely mind-blowing. We'll, of course, keep you up to date on all of the Jeremy Renner, the musician news. But for this week, that's where we leave off. Tim, anything else for the folks at home?
In rare great news this week, great news, everybody. Neil Young has officially announced the release of Archives Volume 2. Archives Volume 1 came out in, I believe, 2009, and this will cover 1973 to 1982, including being live releases and at least 2 shelved studio albums that he, for some reason, just decided to hide away for 40 plus years. And he's also releasing an anti-Trump EP with a cover of Dylan's The Times They Are Changing, as well as some reworked previous material.
Interesting.
And his first Carnegie Hall performance from when he was 25 and a 1990 Crazy Horse set. So
Jesus.
2020 is going to be a great year for me.
Or at least Neil Young.
I like Neil Young. I like to
I
hear
understand.
his music.
We all understand. Tim, that brings us to the part of the show where we announce what album are we going to be listening to for an entire week straight before we come back here and talk about it.
Well, Garrett, you mentioned earlier in the show that you didn't hate this song and you don't hate Dave Matthews yet. However, a full album might get you there.
Yeah, I think that would be the go. Oh my God. No.
Yeah. So next week, we're going to listen to the debut album, Dave Matthews Band, Under the Table and Dreaming, to see if we can get Gold Cobra all the way to hate on the Dave Matthews.
I might be there.
well, wait for another 7 days. Hold out, Garrett. Stay right on the edge of hatred for the next 7 days, and then let yourself fall over into the hatred abyss in front of everyone. I think is the way. Okay. You know what? I hate it.
All right, Tim. Great job as always.
No, thank you.
That'll be terrible. But before we come back here and do it all over again, let's mention that we have Twitter, we have Instagram, we have YouTube. It's all out there, folks. You can find us at Album HatePod on Twitter, at HatePod on Instagram. We're posting all the time. You may have also noticed we've now got the best of the week. That's a combination of what we found particularly funny and moments from the show that you guys have called out and asked to be included. So if there's a particular moment from an episode that you want to see at the end of the week in the best of, let us know. And those are a nice, fun little bite-sized way to remember all the fucking fun you had just 2 simple days ago. As always, you can also go to hatepod.com and you'll find every episode we've ever done in every format you could possibly want, however you podcast. You can also write to us by clicking on Contact Us in the upper left-hand corner. It asks for an email. It's just so we can reply. We're not going to mark it at you. We don't even save it. You could just also email us directly at hatePodMail@gmail.com. You can reach out to us on, we got the subreddits where people are talking back and forth about these episodes. We've got the old Discord servers. Join up there. There are always terrifying conversations going on in there. It's almost practically an extension of this show, and Tim and I are creepily watching and answering where we see appropriate. YouTube, we're on YouTube. You know how that works. Anything else?
We're on Google. If you Google us, stuff comes up. Don't Google our actual names, though. That's weird.
Right. That is weird, but people are doing it.
Please stop.
Find the Tim.
No, no. That's not funny. Don't find the Tim. Don't find the Tim. I have a feral rabid Beck on a leash, and he will bite you. He gave me heartworm. Please don't find me.
For Why I Hate This Album, I have been one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey.
I have been the other, Gold Cobra.
No, that's not funny.
It's pretty funny.
Aluminum Cobra.
There's cowboys running through my dreams. Nothing's quite the way it seems. Well, I joined the Navy. I got kicked out in a week. My facial features aren't distinct. I try to find some meaning in these songs. The genius is a genius, got it wrong. Well, it's a lobster murder sex thing, the bleaching of her hair, full of salt on both your ears. The riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides, the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now the week has passed. It's the Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.